We're good. Okay,
It's
perfect.
going.
It is an honor to have you for the second time in the day. I appreciate you gifting me your time, especially with how precious it is. Um earlier I'm just gonna go into a quick introduction of you. You're my best friend of more than 10 years. It's a bit like at least 15.
I know that's crazy. Like
Um
it's because we met at like 2, so that's
it was a while.
we
But no, honestly, like the reason that I wanted to ask you to allow me to interview you is because you have a magnetic story. I feel a story that needs to be shared, and a story of survivorship to breast cancer. With that, I'm gonna give it to you and let you introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
all right. So I am excuse me. I'm Larissa. I am a breast cancer survivor. I had stage 3 grade B in ductal carcinoma. So basically I had a tumor that was bigger. It was actually 7 centimeters. And I don't know how they measure that, but 7 centimeters. And what that was how they determined the grade, I believe. I still don't know. That's how much like, you know.
Yeah,
And then my stage was because it had the tumor was over a certain size and it had spread to my lymph nodes. So I had a mastectomy and I had 14 lymph nodes removed. Luckily, only 7 were cancerous. So they're confident that, they have clear margins and they took out all the infected lymph nodes and such. But yeah, so I beat cancer, stage 3. And then I'm just a wife and a mom.
just
I,
that
well,
word. You
yeah,
are,
I am a wife
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
a mom. And that's kind of become my whole being. But I actually really like that. I don't have any problems saying I stay home. I do work. I work 9 hours a week at my kids' school. um, and for
Snaps.
me, yeah, I always laugh because I say I work for Amazon, but the reality is I work to pay my car payment, and that sounds funny, and it's very minimum pay, but it makes me feel like I'm doing something. Not that
Productive.
I wasn't,
Yes.
but but I work for
Yeah.
car payment.
Yeah.
So yeah, I am just active in the community. I do so many things. Like I host walks. I do PTO and baseball things and softball things. And my kids are in parkour and swim. So my life revolves around them. That's what I do. But along the way, I've met some really great friends, and we just do so much together, with and without our husband's kids. We've
Yeah.
learned to do things alone, and so it's been nice. So yeah, that's who I am, and I live in the Bay Area. So
Thank you for that. Um, with that, I'm gonna go into a set of questions for you. I again selected you as one of the people that I know that is a survivor of breast cancer, and your story is just it's important to highlight because I don't feel that there's enough stories.
yeah.
Um, so I'm gonna get into it. With your general well being around all of this, how has your experience with breast cancer affected your day to day emotional well being?
So I think for me, like when I'm busy, it's not too much. The days that I'm at work, um, in between, shuffling kids to and from different activities, it's not doesn't bother me so much. I don't notice it now because I'm back to being busy, but I think it's in certain things like some of the smaller things that I don't think people realize, like walking into my restroom and smelling my restroom, and then it makes me think about all the things when I was sick, and then it's like, oh wow, I had
Yeah,
cancer, and then you start to think about how there's all these things, right? The reoccurrences
yeah,
and such, and then I think just aches and pains. I mean, for the longest time I can remember, like something always hurts, right? If you sleep wrong, but now every time that happens, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's cancer, and then I start to spiral. So I think that's how it affects my day to day. I take notes. Oh, just like other things too, like having the lymph nodes removed. My arm is restricted. I can't
mhm.
like one arm can go back further. Oh, that was like the chicken example. Um, but now I can't lift 10 pounds, and so it really does restrict. even like my jobs that I'm applying for, like I used to work in a crisis center where they do restraints, and I can't do that, you know. And
Yeah.
so just certain things like that, that like it's not all the time, but there's days, there's moments. Um, even like the drive to the hospital, I hate going to my doctors. And then I mean,
Yeah.
I'm grateful for it, but with Kaiser, which I have Kaiser, everything's in one spot. So no matter what
Yeah.
I go do, it's like driving past the chemo room. And then like for
Yeah.
whatever reason, I guess mid-aged people get that building that the chemo's in. So for everything I've done, they're like, go back to this building. And I'm like,
Great.
literally,
Yeah.
if you walk through into the front door and you can see all the people getting chemo in the video. I'm like, you know,
Yeah.
so and then I think just that the doctor's appointments really affect like the plans you want to do on certain days. And I get frustrated because I didn't do enough, but then it's like even just going and getting an injection can be exhausting. And just being
Yeah.
exhausted all the time, right, is really frustrating. And I think I'm a little hard on myself. I expect myself to be able to do the same things. Um,
Mm.
and it kind of comes from outside pressure too. Like people aren't rude about it, but they have certain expectations now, or they are not as supportive with certain things. And it kind of
Yeah.
makes you feel like, oh, I should be there. And then when you're not, like you tend to beat yourself up a lot
That
more.
makes sense.
So yeah, it's like, and then I think for me too, when I can't do things, I worry that people think I'm lazy or just like certain things. For example, I was working and one of my coworkers was talking to me, and I was like, the chemo fog is so real, even though it's been almost a year now. And so
Yeah.
she was talking to me, and I was just kind of like, oh, and like I like blinked out for a minute. And then
Yeah.
like later on, she was talking to me, and I was like, oh, okay. And I was tired that day, and I had only slept for it was like a lot going. So it was kind of like spacey, kind of like quiet. And she was like, "Are you upset at me? Are you, you know?" And then so it's like
Yeah.
you're. I don't want people to feel that way, but you know.
You
So
can't help it. Yeah.
yeah. So I would
Yeah.
say that's where the day to day is affected.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, are there any particular moments in your journey that have been especially challenging mentally or emotionally?
I think, or during the initial diagnosis, and seeing how it affected the people around me was a big thing.
Hard. Yeah.
I think again, kind of the beating myself up, wanting to do things. I'm huge on like holiday season. I celebrate all the holidays between, the Halloween, the Thanksgiving. And so I think being in chemo during that time, not being able to decorate, I really felt down. Um,
Yeah.
and I think like those moments broke me, even the holidays, like not being able to go celebrate Christmas with everyone and fear of getting sick and having to have a smaller thing. I felt sad because I love those big moments, but then I felt sad for my kids who are used to those big moments.
Yeah.
And I just felt like it was depressing. It was, I think, being sick, and then if it was just a small Christmas, it's one thing, but a small Christmas
Yeah.
when you're sick and gets cancer, like it just,
Everything.
thing, yeah, it's a lot. Um,
Yeah.
my marriage has been tested, losing my breast, gaining weight, losing my hair, which has always been like a big identity. I like felt really insecure and started just, acting terribly towards
Spiraling.
my husband. Yeah, spiraled
Yeah.
essentially, losing the confidence in who I was. It just, you know, really tested the marriage. And I will say he did pretty well in handling it, but like there were moments, where I was like, okay, did I push him too far now? Like, is this, and then not recognizing that he was going through it as well and expecting him to like understand what I'm going through, but not even recognizing that he was also going through it kind of put a strain on that on us.
That
And
makes sense.
now, I think now with our marriage, he's trying to get out of like that caregiver mode. And I'm like, you don't hug me as much, or you don't. And he's like, yeah, because when I hugged you, like it hurt. Even
Yeah.
prior to like the surgery and stuff, it was large and swollen, and it was. And so he's like, there's so much more to it. It's hard.
Yeah.
Um, and then I get hot now. So he's like, when I hold your hand, you're like 5 seconds in, you're like, okay, I gotta let go. I'm hot. I'm sweaty.
Yeah.
You know. So there's a lot, I think, but definitely working on just communicating and being more open has helped. But yeah, I'm not perfect, and I have my moments still. And then I think some of my family, like for sure, I know some of my family members felt like I didn't thank them enough for
Mhm.
support, or I haven't reached out enough. But like Like today, we talked this morning. I took a few naps. I ate. Didn't want to even do anything. Took a walk. Like I didn't do much, and so it's like that's
Yeah.
I have my days.
And
Um,
even that's a lot for you, I bet.
yeah, and like my leg is hurting because I'm going through the like sciatica thing, and so I've been on the bed with the heating. Like it's just a lot, and I think people don't understand that,
Yeah.
and so then that's challenging because I'm like I don't want to like lose these people. Like, they're important, but then I don't think they understand, and I can't always explain everything. It's
Yeah.
hard. It's a
Yeah.
lot. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, Kind of talking about your friends and family a little bit. What kinds of support from family, friends, or professionals have made the most difference for you during this time?
Therapy. I know I said I wouldn't do that, but therapy has been great. It has
Sorry, medication.
been like just, I think just being able to kind of like, what was it? Word vomit, as Beat Girl said, right?
Yeah.
And just being able to like say all of that. And then also being able to hear someone acknowledge what I'm going through and like not feel crazy, right? Because you feel crazy with a lot of the
Yeah.
emotions and things coming up. Um, so I think therapy for sure was like, a, and it's helping me rediscover who I am. Like I just last session I had a big breakdown because I was like, wait a minute, you're right. I don't know myself. I don't know who I am. I mean, I know I'm a mom and I know I'm a wife, but I don't. I love it, and I'll never stop doing all I do. But I also like, who am I? But can I
Yeah.
go and do something by myself that doesn't revolve around them? No. And so that's kind of helped me realize that I've taken more time for myself in the smallest things like walks or going and getting a Starbucks or whatever the case may be. Um, my parents have been incredible, like in so many ways, helping with kids, helping with meals, financially. My mom helps with the cleaning of my home. Um, like my mom rearranging her schedule for me to help with the kids. My aunt who introduced me to the surgeon after two doctors denied me so that I could be heard, and finally they found that it was breast cancer and not all the other things they said.
Yeah.
My surgeon, who again, like I said, has just continued to support me in every step of the way, even through my gallbladder surgery, recommending a great surgeon. My oncologist, who now retired, so she's on my Kanye
Yeah.
list. But she was great. Really heard me through. Really let me make the calls and me draw my map out on how I wanted to do things. I mean, obviously they said you have to do chemo, you have to do radiation in this order, but in terms of like what days of the week, what time do you prefer? How would
Yeah.
you like it set up? Do you need meds to knock you out for the things? Because I do, like not knock me out cold. If you could put it through my arm, even better, which they did not.
Yeah.
But just things like that. And then like just in general, the circle of friends and family, like one of my good friends that I've met through my kids, they're going to school, took off a whole month, or not the whole month, but she took off 1 week, 1 day a week for the entire month of November because both
Yeah.
my mom and Robert were like, it's been a few months. We need to go back to like, a little bit. um, and she took me to chemo. And it was nice to just like, a lot of people fell asleep at chemo because of the steroids they gave me. I was not able to fall asleep. So it was nice to have someone there and just cheese me out and, talk and like just I know I'm at chemo. I feel this thing connected. I know, but like you kind of don't think about. You're not looking at all the sick people around you at the moment. So, um, and then the prayers. I mean, I don't know if people are, whoever's religious or not. No offense, but I'm religious. But even the people that were saying they're putting up positive energy, I believe in all that, right? And so I really felt this big cloud of positivity and love just around. Like it was, you could feel it. Like I don't even know how to explain it because so many people were like, I'm gonna pray for you in my prayer circle, or I'm gonna light sage and like just so many things from so many different backgrounds and so many beliefs. And I was just open to like all the positivity is what it came down to, and like I could feel it. I could really feel it, and that was like so huge to me. That community.
That's really beautiful. The way that you like were almost enveloped in it. I do want to ask, God, the question slipped my mind because my kid came out here, but there was something that you said that I wanted to ask. Oh, would you say, and this is just kind of a clarification for myself, when you're talking to your therapist, when it feels like it almost does it feel like isolating the what you're going through just because nobody around you really understands 100% what you're feeling?
Totally. I think it's, my husband was here for most of it. Even the days that my friend took me to chemo, he was working from home, so I'd come home and he'd be here. Um,
Hmm.
but no matter what, there's certain things that I try to explain, and I'm like, it's frustrating because you just don't get it. You
Yeah,
just do not get it. And I think um that was another thing I probably forgot was the online community, right? That's one of the biggest reasons why I'm loud and I'm proud. And it was so hard to find people.
yeah,
To this day, I don't think one of my friends, I mean, I joined a group and they obviously connect us to people, but one of the friends I made on my own through
yeah.
Instagram, we all have different types of breast cancers. And then the one that I've gotten closest to doesn't even have breast cancer. She had a different type of cancer. But it was just, even with
It's still
her, it
community.
was nice to talk about all the things that we felt, the things we couldn't do anymore, the things
Yeah,
we had to do now. All the like medical equipment you're buying, and I don't mean like these big machines, but I mean like I needed like those wedges to sleep on, and
yeah.
I needed, like ice
The
caps
head
on
thing,
my
right?
head,
Yeah,
and I needed the ones for my hands and my feet so that my fingernails didn't fall off. So, and they were really bruised, which was really not fun.
yeah.
Um, and so I think even then though, like it's still, I couldn't talk to her
Very
about my
isolating.
infection. She didn't go through surgery.
Yeah,
Um, and so yeah, I think it's definitely, I mean, it's so frustrating. There's things that I'm like, somebody like just understand,
yeah,
you know? And so I think again, that's why I find it important to just talk about it when anyone asks and why I'm open to it, because it's just nice to like find people along the journey that
yeah,
semi understand, you know?
yeah. That makes sense. Um, on your journey, and I'm gonna segue into mental health and coping. How has your mental health changed since your diagnosis and treatment?
Since my diagnosis, during my cancer, I think I was just so fatigued. I
Hmm.
didn't have a lot of time to think about it during the treatments of chemo. Prior to chemo, I think, you find out you have cancer and all these emotions flood you. And I was just in a terrible space. Like, I didn't want to talk to anyone. I felt embarrassed. I felt ashamed, which I don't know why, but I did. Um, I couldn't
Yeah,
even tell people that I had cancer. I made Robert do it. I was like, oh, can you call my mom and tell my mom? Can you text this person? And can
yeah,
I told my aunt, my dad's side, the one that worked with the surgeon, I was like, you can make all the phone calls, right? You'll call grandma. Like, my grandma's 87. So like
yeah,
I don't want to tell
yeah,
her. And then just a lot of
yeah.
my grandma, I have a grandmother in Reno who, I mean, mentally she's there. She's got a lot of health issues. And like, I didn't tell her until about 2 weeks ago. And she would call,
Girl.
she would call. But I mean, she's alone
Yeah,
in
yeah,
at home. I didn't, I was like, that's just, I don't know how to
yeah.
take it. Um, so,
Okay.
um, yeah, I should have known. She's very Italian and spicy, so I should have known that she was gonna be like, "Well, girl, you better," She was like, "You should,"
Yeah,
but I think
yeah,
those feelings, like when she would call and I'm like, "Oh, I can't tell her right now," or like there was other things that I couldn't tell people, and it just really like gets to you, right? And
yeah.
then, like I said, the mental health, like I was eating a sprout pistachio muffin when I got my phone call that I had cancer. And so when I go to Sprouts and we're in the muffin section and my kids are like, we love muffins, I'm like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
having to let people live a normal life and not wanting to ruin that for them while trying to ignore some of the things you're like, all of that is just all messy.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It's hard
Um,
to balance.
yeah, the other thing is like the questioning if like I never know if I'm sick or is it cancer? Is it pain or is it cancer? We went to Gilroy Gardens and I'm like, can I go on a ride or is it? Then I'm like, you're normal. What are you? You're healed. Like, what do you? But just those stresses,
Yeah,
it really affects the mental health.
absolutely.
And that's more small day to day things that like I'm like, okay, whatever, I forget about it later.
Yeah.
Overall, I feel like a little relief because I always felt like something terrible was gonna happen, like the other folks who dropped in my life. And now I'm like, oh, this was hopefully it. I'm gonna just,
Yeah.
you know, just kind of. I think I'm making myself believe, knock on wood, that that was it.
Yeah.
And so I think overall, like the bigger, like I used to have to take sleeping pills, for anxiety, and I haven't taken those. Actually, I took it the other day, but that was because I was just tired and needed to sleep, and I kept getting up because
Yeah.
I was, so I was like, I'm gonna knock myself
Yeah.
out, But like, I haven't taken them other than that. And I was sick that
Yeah.
day, and I was in pain. I was like, I need something to help me, but like, I haven't taken them for the anxiety. Because I would also, if
That's
they're
amazing.
like I'm during the day for thing, but just I
Yeah.
I stopped taking them when I started chemo because I didn't want to be on any meds, and then I just never took them again.
Again. Yeah.
Picked it back up. I mean, it used to be like an every night thing, and it's like, oh, my window's open. I was like, I heard something. Um, oh my god, there's people walking. Sorry,
I'm
people.
waiting for the raccoons to.
Yeah. So just things like that. I mean, there's good and bad days. There's highs and lows. But yeah, like I overall the therapy is helping. But hard to believe, but I've become more blunt and vocal with the people around me. And just really being honest. Like, even my husband was like, you make all these. I don't know if you know who Steve Trevino is, the comedian, but he talks a lot about his wife,
Yes.
like making hints. Like she's like, he said he took the TV outside and that she was like, I'm just gonna get the TV. And he's like, there I am like a dummy going and getting the TV because I'm macho, but really I just want her to ask. So we're watching that. My husband's like, oh my God, that's
Yeah.
true. Like you don't ask and then you're mad because I don't do it, but you don't ask. But then I'm like, I'm not your mom. I shouldn't have to ask you to
Yeah.
clean up after yourself. But he's like, but it like, and for me, it's like
Yeah.
sometimes like dumb things. Like he'll take his socks off at the bed on his side of the bed, and I'm like, that's not pretty. And he's
You're
like,
like, ugh.
I'll move them in
Yeah.
the morning. Like I just got in bed. So sometimes it's little things like that
Yeah.
that I'm like, okay, I should let go. But other things, he's like, you need to just ask. I'm not gonna do it if you don't ask.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I think being more bold, more vocal, more it helps a lot. So that's helped me feel less anxiety.
And I was gonna say, it's a part of mental health. We touched on it really briefly earlier, but no is a really good way of taking care of yourself and setting that boundary.
Yeah.
So that's that's amazing that you can. I mean, you've always been very vocal, knowing you, but it's good that you can be vocal with everybody now. Like
Yeah.
there's not that fear in you. That
And I'm
you're
learning
able
to be
to do
vocal
it for your health.
with compassion
Yeah.
instead of just,
Yes. Yeah.
you know, I'm trying to be
Yeah.
compassionate about it. Well, I do. So,
Yeah. Yay. Um, on that, what strategies or coping mechanisms have helped you manage your stress and or anxiety during this time? So before you would take medication, and obviously you're not on medication during your chemo, how did that during your chemo and post treatment? How's all that going for you?
during chemo, I was terrible just because everything was so new. I got my diagnosis July 8th and I started chemo
Mhm.
July 24th or the 29th. So like 20 days later. And in those
Yeah.
20 days, I had an MRI, I had a PET scan, I had another mammogram. Um, I had a heart echogram. Like
Mm.
my echogram was at like 8:30 p.m. So you feel like this is serious because they're just like, we need to get you into the quick. I had to talk to a
Yeah.
fertility doctor. Like just so much was happening in 20 days that I didn't have any time to process it. It was like go, 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 go. And
Yeah.
then you're like in this cloud. So then when you hit chemo, you're like, okay, things have calmed down. I know my routine. It's every week, this day, whatever. Um,
Yeah.
and I think like it just it all came out. I had no strategy, no coping mechanism, nothing. Post
Yeah.
that, I think what helped was during chemo, I got fatigued. I got it was bad. I couldn't drive myself. I couldn't come home. I probably could
Hmm.
have gotten there. Well, no, because I was already feeling weak and stuff. But
Yeah.
when I started radiation, I think everyone, it was like 6 months of chemo. So everyone had taken so much time off that radiation is a little easier. And then radiation is every day. So it was like they couldn't take off every morning. So I would do it
Yeah.
myself. And that actually helped me because I would drop my kids off at 8 and I didn't start radiation until 9:30. So I'd get out, get the kids at school, go grab
Hmm.
my coffee or breakfast or something, and like hang out in the parking lot, have time to like debrief. And I think just getting out and
Decompress.
being
Yeah.
on my own again felt nice, felt good. And that
Yeah.
helped, but it encouraged me to want to like do more for myself. Um,
Hmm.
and I think that's, what led me into going into therapy, which is like a huge thing. It led me into wanting to walk to just get out of the house finally. I went back to work a few hours at my kids' school, paying my car payment, even though,
Yeah.
like nothing compared to like the rent or whatever. Um,
But it's that small thing of independence.
yeah, just a little bit of independence. Routines huge. So I work the same 3 days. They need that position's open, but I just pick the same 3 days for the routine. Trying to get into working out
Yeah.
2 days at our YMCA. We have a YMCA membership, and then 2 days at our gym here. Um, and just trying to
Hmm.
find and fit into that routine is huge. In terms of when I do start to feel myself get anxiety, start to worry, one of the biggest things is I find, like, I tell the person that I'm with, like, hey, I'm feeling anxiety right now. Like, if I step out, I try to do that. I'm not always perfect at it. Another thing is like just
Hmm.
telling specifically my husband, because he's here, what I'm feeling. Like, if I'm like, hey, my leg's hurting and I'm feeling like, all right, we're back.
Right.
So let me look at my notes. Yeah, so just the routine. So when I do start to feel anxiety, I try to talk to somebody. One of the biggest things is I wake up sometimes in the middle of the night to use the restroom, or I get hot flashes, so I'll wake up hot. And
Hmm.
sometimes like I start to just get some kind of feeling. Um, and in those moments, I try to just take different like coping mechanisms that I know. Like one of them is like touch things, smell something, feel something, right? Or I just sit
Yeah.
there and I do deep breathing. Sometimes I shake my husband awake and I'm like, I'm feeling anxious, crying and
Yeah.
being completely honest. Crying helps sometimes just to relieve that, right?
Letting it out. Yeah.
Um, if it's daytime and I'm available and or not available, but like I can, I will just try to go out, even just take my dog quickly to go pee or whatever. Uh,
Yeah.
Sometimes I just stand at the window on our balcony and I just let the sun hit me. Uh,
Yeah.
and I just like let the thoughts, whatever. I never.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is I try to never ignore the feelings or the thoughts of anxiety because then I realize that's when they like boom, 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 and then implode, and it's not.
Yeah.
At least for me, right? Everyone's different. That's my
Yeah.
thing. Um,
No, that makes sense.
and just really setting goals for the future reminds me that
Hmm.
there is a future. Sorry, my kid's camera keeps going off, so I'm looking at it. They're acting up, but that's
No,
fine.
you're good.
So like just, remembering like there is a future. I'm here, I'm alive, I've survived. Like this doesn't it's not the end, and there's so much support to like keep
Yeah.
pushing and so much reason to keep pushing. Really planning things with friends and family and setting those goals. Like I'm ready to do Disneyland in Hawaii. I've never taken my kids to either of those. And so I'm like, okay, let's
Yeah.
go, so just planning to is a reminder that I have something to look forward to.
That makes sense. Um, so we you kind of touched on this already with the previous question, but are there activities, hobbies, or routines that bring you comfort or a sense of normalcy? I imagine that the life with your kids is what really brings you like that groundedness, right?
For
Um,
sure.
that flow.
Yeah, I think the sense of normalcy is again my like group of friends and everyone, family, friends, but specifically because just of our kids, putting my kids first, like always. The group of friends I've made through the school my kids were at, just always inviting me to everything. I mean, it's like the group chat. If there's one group chat that I know that like makes it out of the group chat to do things, it's our group chat, right? Now, it doesn't mean all 8 families make it to everything. And that's what's nice is the invite just goes out and you can show up, cannot, and it's nice to like show up and do certain things. And like, there's certain things I don't do. Like they're like, oh, we're going to the brewery. And I'm like, I don't want to be there where I'm like,
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
tired. Like a girl gets tired by 8 o'clock. We're in bed, right?
Yeah.
Um, but just still
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
just still getting those invites, still, being included in things, even with my family. There is things like my mom where she's like, no, you can't hold that. You can't, and I'm like, I can. You can't. You're almost 60. No, just kidding. But like, I think still like I've recently started going and doing things with my mom like we used to. And so like we go and have, of course now my daughter comes, but we go and have our brunch and we do shopping, and all of that just seems so normal to me. We go to the outlets and driving for pure nonsense, things we don't need, but like it's just normal. That's just what I've done. I mean, my grandma, my whole family is shopping. So like
Yeah.
it's been nice. Getting into trying to do
Yeah.
different things. The other day I made cherry cupcakes. I was trying to do the Betty Crocker ones. I
Uh-huh.
did throw away 2 batches, so that's how those came out. Did not taste like Betty Crockers.
Oh my God, you said cupcakes and it reminded me of those cupcakes we did at your grandma's house.
I'm pretty sure my grandma was like so over me and my baking and cooking.
Get the hell out of my kitchen.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she's,
Yes.
yes,
I'm sorry.
yeah, girl. My grandma was so proud of me.
Okay, so you were making those cookies or the cupcakes?
So, but just doing things with my kids again, right? Like we have
Yeah.
pumpkin patches lined up. We have and we've already done a pumpkin patch. Decorating for Halloween. Oh my God, that has been like so fun because I missed, like, we decorated a little. I don't know, actually, we might not have decorated, but I like missed, like I don't know if you could see this picture, but I got my pumpkins. Oh, it's not gonna show you.
Oh, it blurred it out.
Why is it blurring it out?
Okay, I see. I see. I see. It's a little blurry, but I see. I see the orange.
See if I can take it off. Anyway, um, I don't know how to take off that thing. I don't even know how I got it on. But anyways, I'll send you a picture later. Um,
Okay.
so just like, and we're going to paint pumpkins. We'll probably carve some, but the one I got, I'll send it to you and I'll tell you because if I don't do it and this goes out, we're gonna be like, she never made the pumpkin. But I haven't been.
Yeah.
I saw that pumpkin from like a mile away, and I was like, I know what that pumpkin's going to be. Like you know,
Girl, this is it.
and my husband, and this is the other thing, right? Going back to um the normalcy. Like before, when I had cancer, I'm not even gonna lie, I could see it. Every time I was like, I want this, my husband's like, of course. You need something for water that's gonna be, it's how much you here, you want to go
Yeah.
drive all the way to, 3 hours for some coffee? Yes. And now I was
Yeah.
like, I want that pumpkin right there. And he was like, I ain't paying no $80 for that pumpkin. And I was like, at first, I'm like,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
like, okay, we're back to normal. And then I had to work on it. I got my pumpkin. I had to explain to him why it needed to be that one. And I'm going to send it to you so you can
Yeah.
understand. And as soon as you're going to be like, oh,
I
yeah.
get it. Well,
Um,
that makes sense.
but just even that, right? Like just going back to like stop spending so much money compared to like you could have anything you want because
Yeah.
you have cancer, Um,
Yeah. The cancer card.
yeah. Just all of it though, like,
Oh my God. No, I get it.
right? Yeah.
Oh my
You know who that's trying to be, right?
yes. Hell yeah.
Have him paint her face on it.
We won't say who, but we will
Yeah.
see it when we see
We
it.
won't say who, but if I find 2 more pumpkins that look like the other two, that's your hint.
That'll be fire.
Yeah. So,
It's a trio.
oh yes, yes, it's a trio. It's female, and they related. So we're gonna
It's
put that.
seasonal.
Yeah, it's in season. It's in season right now. So,
Okay.
um, so yeah, that just all of that, like going back to normalcy. Like it's gonna
Yeah.
sound so funny, but picking up my dog's waste, I couldn't do that before. Like I just could.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to be exposed to that. Like having plants now,
Yeah.
you just saw my door. Before, like I would get them, but it would be like all on one area, and Robert had like all the flowers people got me. I like to see them, but we had to put them like by the door,
Yeah.
and Robert was the one that like, I'm like, tell them I said hi. Tell my
And
plants.
just because you're touching on that, I want to touch on it a little bit in depth. What is the reason why, as a cancer patient, you can't receive flowers or like live, right?
Because
Live flowers or
you can't
yeah.
receive life flat. Well, you can't. I mean, everything down to like even fruits, right? You have to extra wash and stuff because as a cancer patient, the chemo, even the radiation, all the medicines you're taking affect your white blood count, um,
Hmm.
and other parts of your body. And so all of these things, as beautiful as it sounds, that they're natural, right? And you're like, I want the most organic fruits and veggies, and I want to grow them in my garden, like, and I want flowers because they're beautiful and they bring all this light to my room or whatever. They do contain
Yeah.
bugs. They do carry things that can cause infectious
Infections.
diseases for us.
Yeah.
So all of that, that's the same with like pet waste. We have guinea pigs that couldn't clean their cage. We have a bird I couldn't clean, and it's like all at first I was
Yeah.
like I
Haha.
can't,
But
I
you're
just,
like,
and then after a while you're like,
yeah.
I don't even take the dog on a walk because I can't pick it up. So you take the dog on a walk, and then you realize you're missing out on certain things. That lead,
Yeah.
although I did start getting my kids to pick it up, so that's been nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, just all those things that feel like normal, like being able to go out and like talk to people and not have to have a mask and worry about being sick, like feeling normal again, right? Eating,
Yeah.
get to eat. I mean, I don't get to eat whatever, but I do get to eat whatever, right? Like I try not to.
Yeah.
A girl still gets some Taco Bell on Taco Tuesday here and there, you know? Like
Yeah.
sometimes I like chicken nuggets after my kids go to bed. You know what I mean? Like it happens. Um, and so yeah, I think just that's the normalcy. Uh,
Yeah. And
but
honestly, thank you for sharing that about the live plants and fruits because that is not such a known fact.
yeah,
I didn't learn that. Okay, we've had cancer patients in our family before, but I really didn't know about the flowers and plants until my niece had been diagnosed with AML. And
yeah,
they were trying to send her flowers, and they're like, no, you can't, they're beautiful, but no.
yeah,
So thank you for that because it's
yeah.
good
It,
to share.
I know. So definitely, yeah. Like if anyone plans to send flowers, I would check in. I liked them; they definitely helped me. So that was a risk I was willing to take by keeping them in my home, but I did keep them by our sliding door.
Yeah.
Um, and I couldn't touch them. I didn't go near them. I just had to watch from afar, where my couch was.
I love
It worked out, thankfully.
Yeah.
But that's not always the case. And so I think it's really important that people just check in and find out.
I love okay. Going on, we want to talk about a little bit of the stigma and about communication during these times. Do you feel it's easy or difficult to talk about the mental health side of cancer with others?
For me, like in this sense where you're asking questions, I find it extremely easy just because, I mean, I'm comfortable with you. I know you.
Yeah.
We've talked about this even on the phone and prior during all of this. So it's not like anything new. Um,
Yeah.
but on top of that, I just think I've always been a person that like because I have such high anxiety, it's better for me to just say things. So it is somewhat
Yeah.
easy because I just want to like get it off so people like even sometimes I bring it up before people can question things. It
Yeah.
could be a stare or whatever because I'm like it's awkward. Like I get it. But I'm also
Yeah.
just proud to be an advocate of to be a survivor because I do have a friend whose husband was diagnosed in April and passed away by June. And so that was like such a short, by the time they found his pancreas, I think, pancreatic cancer,
Oh,
stage 4.
I'm
Yeah,
not sorry.
it was stage 4.
Yeah.
So it was, and they found it because they took out his gallbladder. And so where was I going with that? What were we talking about?
But while
Well,
the
and sharing. Yeah.
talking about
So,
it and
so,
yeah.
I think I struggled with that for a little bit. I got my gallbladder. So he got his gallbladder taken out in April. That's when they found the cancer. He passed away in June. I got mine taken out in July. So it was one of those like things where I went into that like they're going to find something like, and then I came out and they're like,
Yeah.
"You're good, go home." Um,
Like
so
really? Yeah.
yeah, so to me, I'm proud that I was able to like I can be an advocate because unfortunately he cannot, and he has kids
Yeah.
too, and it's just one of both of us named our daughters the same name. Like it was just it's all my woodwork in my home, including my cancer sign and like things like that he made.
Yeah.
Um, And so I think I'm just, and I know that's not the only story, right? And so that's why I'm proud to be able to share, and I try
Yeah.
to share as much as I can. There's really, really like deep rooted things that I've felt that I'm not so comfortable sharing with people, but I think as time goes on, right? Some of them are still fresh, some of them. One of the things I think that I'm okay now was just the accusations of accusing my husband of cheating. I mean, I even called you and was like, I'm going through this, and I think,
Yeah.
like, I think that's a
That's
big thing that
understandable.
people don't realize you can feel, right? And my husband was like, yes, in the 10 minutes that I went to 7-Eleven and came back, I was like with some other chick. You're right. Like, and then I'm like, why are you being smart? It would blow,
Yeah.
I'd blow things out of proportion out of my own insecurity. And so
Yeah.
there's just a lot of other things that I'm not fully comfortable yet with everyone. And then there's things about like, yeah, when you're diagnosed, you go crazy. Like, I'm totally open to sharing that. And like, I say crazy because I was like, some days I was yelling just by myself.
Yeah.
My family's on, but I'm just like, why? Some days you're in
Yeah.
for an hour because you're just bawling. There's so many
Yeah.
emotions to it. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I think that it just I'm proud to be there and be able to share. And so I try as
Yeah.
much as I can, even if it's uncomfortable sometimes.
No, and that's beautiful because not only are you sharing your survivorship, but you're honoring his story too.
Right.
Um, that is very beautiful. And girl, uh, with that, what do you wish people understood better about the emotional impact of breast cancer?
I think people think our biggest battle emotionally is like we don't want to die and we're focused on that. And then one of the things you see everyone talk about is the fear of reoccurrence. So every ache and everyone talks about that, but there's just so much more. Like there's just I lost my train of thought now. Bring the question up again so I can remember, please.
What do you wish people understood better about the
Oh, yeah.
emotional impact of breast
Um,
cancer?
I think there's so much that people expect you to feel, but then there's things they don't realize you're going to feel. And things
Mhm.
that some people make comments like, for example, one of the comments that just absolutely triggered me was that, oh well, at least you got the good cancer, and I'm like, mother effer, nobody wants cancer. There ain't no good cancer, you
Yeah.
know. Like there's not
Yeah.
that, oh well it's treatable. No, that doesn't make it a good cancer. That doesn't mean I want to spend days and I lost my job because not like I lost it, but I quit my job and I've lost so much
Yeah.
of my life in 6 months to a year that I couldn't do things, but you're gonna call it the good cancer?
Yeah.
Like, let's be real, right?
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
so for me, like even my hair, losing my hair, I've always had long hair. I mean, there was times where I did a Britney Spears and like cut it, to my shoulder or whatever, but um, for the most part, I had long hair my entire life, and so that was a huge identity crisis to lose my hair. Like I felt so ugly because I was bald. Like luckily, my eyebrows had stayed on and my lashes till the end. I think my hair was
Hmm.
already growing back when they both fell out. Don't ask how that worked out. It wasn't like long; it was like very little. But
Yeah.
um, just even now, like I have hair, but I'm like I don't. What do I do with it? I've never had hair like this. I don't know. I'm waiting for it to get a certain length. So like, can I put it in a half
Yeah.
pony to look like I'm alive today, My lashes are barely
Yeah.
growing back. So I think there's things that people don't realize. And that's just me. Everyone has a different thing. My mastectomy was a bummer at first, but I'm like, man, I wanted a boob job anyway. Like, I wanted a reduction and a lift. So, like, we're well on our way now. And they're going to take my fun stuff out to mate. Like, girl, I'm okay with that. I get it. The next step is going to be beautiful. But not everyone will.
Yeah.
My gallbladder completely broke me, right? So I think people don't realize there's different stages to all of that. Um,
Hmm.
And I think I wish people would understand that like the healing doesn't end when the treatment does. You look at me and I go to work and like we have people we get to get prosthetics and stuff so I can look like a normal person. Like, I just like my hair short or whatever. It's people no offense,
Yeah.
people do it all the time, but to me, like but I think people don't realize that that's just there's so much more to it. Like the physical pain doesn't even fully go away, right? Like
Yeah.
my arms some days, and maybe it's in my head, but I some days I do feel pain in my underarm. Some days there's certain
Yeah.
movements that I do, and I'm like, like I knew I couldn't move my arm that much, and now it's in pain. Um, I would say
Yeah.
my mastectomy scar itself, not so much, more just the underarm area. But it's numb. All of this is numb. This is numb, and they told me it should have been like better by now, so it'll be numb for life. So then like there's like scratches. My underarm is numb.
Yeah.
Like that's another thing, right? Like I'm trying to like shave my underarm, and I'm like, no, like
Yeah.
I can't feel it. Is it, you know?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of little things I think that like emotionally comes with it. I think one of the biggest things too is, and not in an offensive way, right? Like there's certain ways you say, but when people are like, "Oh my gosh, you're so strong,"
Yeah.
what was I supposed to do? Die? Like that's,
Yeah.
you know. Now, if people are like, "Hey, you're
Yes.
motivating me, you're strength," like there's different ways to say it. Even if you're like, "You're,"
Yeah.
just different ways. But certain people are like, "Oh, you're so strong," and then that's it, and you're like, "Thank you." I'm
No,
not
thanks.
actually. I was
Like, what
crying.
other choice do I have?
That's why my eyes are like,
Yeah.
so much. Um, and then that's the other misconception, right? Is cancer patients, cancer survivors are either strong warriors or they're weak victims. And I don't really think we're either, right? I think we're just somewhere in
No.
between where, like, for a moment, I was ashamed and embarrassed. And I still have moments, but it's not all the time. And I think that's because of that, oh, you're weak mentality. You did something wrong or you were weak and you got cancer, right? Um, and then the other
Hmm.
is everyone's like, "Oh, you're so strong." And I'm like, I don't always want to be strong though. I want to be able to have like a day where I'm like, I effing hate everything.
Where you're vulnerable.
Today I
Yeah.
hate like the other day I was like, my whole like I hate my furniture. My husband's like, we just rearranged. I'm like, I hate it. And then the next day I was like, don't get rid of it. I actually do like it. And I
Yeah.
just it's that part where people think like, oh, you should just move on now. And it's
Yeah.
no,
And
we
it's not done for you.
it's not. I mean, I'm on medication for the next 5 years, and then we go from there. It doesn't just mean you're done after 5 years either. They go and decide. I still have to go get. Now I don't have to. I chose, but I get to go get another surgery. But now that's a surgery that I have
Yeah.
to go through related to cancer. I don't know what that's going to make me feel like. Hopefully, I'm gonna be
Mm.
just. I'm sure in the beginning I'll be like, why did I do this? Because every surgery is
Sure.
terrible. Um,
Yeah.
but and then that's the other thing too is like people are like, oh, you're going through surgery. Well, you could just. I don't know. I've never gone through. I've never broke any bone but a finger when I was 5, and I've never gone
Yeah.
through surgeries. I've gone to my checkups. I was extremely healthy prior to this. Like I did a screening for cancer, for all types of different cancers, a year prior to my diagnosis, or 2 years, something a year or two prior, and they were like, oh, your breast cancer one's extremely low. That's not even a worry, and like boom. So
So even if your
I'm like
girls, yeah.
I'm just like it just people expect us you to like bounce back. I think you know, and it's tough because you want to be treated normal, but you want people to understand like some days aren't good days, right? And that's what I've had to tell
Hmm.
my husband because even he didn't understand what I wanted. I said, look, I appreciate you jumping to carry all the bags and open my door and help me in, but how I'll tell you the days that I'm having a hard time with my leg instead of you just
Yeah.
assuming. Also, I need to build that strength. I can't like let my arm go. That's why I'm in physical therapy, and so
Yeah.
there's a lot
Yeah.
of misconception of, and I think it comes from us also being confused. It's not just society. We also don't know, what's going on. What,
Everything about it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot. It's overwhelming.
Yeah. Um, you did touch on the word misconceptions, and you did uh briefly touch on it, but in addition to the misconceptions, misconceptions around like the strength, right, that you have no other choice about everybody thinking that you're better after treatment, it's back, everything's back to complete normal. What other misconceptions have you encountered through this journey of yours?
I think I can't think off the top of my head. Um, well, one of the biggest one is everyone thinks breast cancers are all the same, you
Mhm.
know, and I don't remember if I talked about that, but there's so many different types of just breast cancers alone. And if there's so many different types of breast cancers,
Yeah.
I mean, you can have my exact diagnosis, but have a different grade or a different um, stage, and your treatment could look
Stage. Yeah.
right. You could have
Oh,
different.
for sure.
We could have identical everything, and then based off your insurance. depends on what, unfortunately, what they're going to offer you and how your treatments will look, and the extra medicines to help you with not like it just there's so much about that. And I think people want to put us all under one umbrella, and like breast cancer is just breast
Hmm.
cancer, and that's not the case. Even with cancer in general, like there's just so many different things, and I think that's why it's so important for people to really look into all the different types of things and really get to know what this. And I don't mean you have to do it for every cancer, but before you like reach out to like a certain type of cancer patient, just be careful with what you
Do your
say.
research.
Don't sit there
Yeah.
like, oh, I got breast cancer, like my sister had. And then also another thing we don't want to hear. This is a little off topic. I don't want to know your
Yeah.
aunt that
No,
died that had cancer, and like, and you and I had that conversation, and I don't mean for you, but yours was different. There's people that are like, my aunt
yes.
had cancer, but she died, and I'm like, okay, thank
Yeah.
you, that's awesome,
Yeah.
right? And then another one I think we talked.
And our conversation was so different.
Yes,
Sorry,
totally.
go ahead.
No, go ahead because mine's gonna change. So go.
No, just the fact that we did kind of talk about it. I did have a cousin who passed away to breast cancer. She had stage 4 metastatic breast cancer, so
Yeah,
different cancer there in itself. But when I reached out to you, it was definitely not like, oh, shit, you have breast cancer. My cousin died of it, but it
yeah,
was just like, how are you with
yeah.
this diagnosis? So yeah, I get you. Sorry that I interrupted you too.
Oh, you're good. I think another one, right, is I, throughout my journey, heard a lot of people that were like, oh my God, I'm donating to this in your name, or I'm donating in your honor. And I'm like, cool, who'd you donate to? And there's certain people, and I'm going to say it, and I don't know if I'm not big enough that it matters, but Susan G. Komen, like I had to block them because they absolutely do not support breast cancer the way they say they do. Absolutely not. That's just
Yeah,
not, and I even feel like the government and the research, I don't think they should cut it, but I definitely think change needs to be made because like there's just no way there is not a single cure with all this money being tossed into it. I think everyone needs to readjust what they're doing. We need to find a cure. Like I don't F the adults right now, find it for childhood cancer first. Let's start there,
yeah,
because I'm going through what I'm going through, and these kids,
I
I'm
can
not
only
find
imagine.
their cure right off, but like find them a better medication. Why are they using adult chemo? Same exact type of
Yeah,
method. That is
yeah,
not
there is no differentiation.
no.
I learned that with my niece's AML.
Yeah, we're
It
like
was wild.
not. That's unacceptable. Like it's poison to our body. It's killing
Yeah,
us slowly, and like you're just yeah, give it to the toddler. It's fine. Give it to the teen.
yeah,
And so I think the
yeah,
misconception is that because something's pink, it's good for us, and it's not. KFC is pink right now. I love me some chicken. Don't get me
yes,
wrong. I'll go over there without my kids all day.
yeah,
But when I go, I know it's not supporting breast cancer. Not the way I want. Change your ingredients.
yes.
You
And
know,
to that,
changing your prices, change your ingredients. So,
amen to that. No, and it's true because there are a lot of, I mean, the term is pink washing, right? During October. And yeah, there is a need, and I fully believe this, that there is a need for an advocacy. And yes, October Breast Month awareness, I love that.
totally,
But for people like you, it's an everyday thing. It's not just an October. It's not, let me wear my pink ribbon,
yeah,
because it's an everyday thing for you. And it's a struggle and a lesson.
totally, yeah. And I think you know that's the thing is I love. Don't get me wrong, I love October. I love the advocacy that's out there. My daughter does
Yeah.
even prior to my diagnosis. She gets to cheer at the high school in her neighborhood, the high school she'll go
Hmm.
to, and they do like a big breast cancer awareness. But again, they advocate and they don't take a bunch of money, and they don't, it's just to show that this is a real thing. And it's something we
Yeah.
need to look into. I'm all for
Yeah.
that. There's a small, I think I said it earlier, Fairfield, a brewery, um, or a brew
Yeah.
fest is what it's
Mentioned it.
called, and it's a bunch of local breweries, and they're actually donating to the cause, right? They're actually trying to find, and so things like that. I'm like, let's keep it going. Even if you only do it in October, like we thank you.
Oh yeah.
Um, the other ones though that are pink
Yeah.
washing and not making changes on their end to try to really support, I'm like, you know. So after I learned about Susan
Yeah.
G. Komen, and it was only after I got diagnosed, I got a lot of frustration
Hmm.
seeing that, so I had to block anything related to that, right? Because that's how much I'm like, we're not supporting.
Yeah.
Um, and people,
That makes sense.
if they want to know why, it's pretty much out there,
Mm.
you know.
Yeah, no, it is. It's sad the amount of advertising that they do in terms of research, and it's not. And then like come for me because I'm a little person, right?
Yeah,
But no, there are different real entities that donate to the research and funding as well as prevention.
yeah.
Ah, yeah, I get you. I get you there. Um, all right. In terms of support systems, and this is our next section, what role have support groups, counseling, or peer connections played for you during these times?
Support groups have been huge. I found Bay Area Young Survivors or BAYS, and they do all types of things. And then they connect you to people in your area, you know, chat like, hey, is anyone from San Jose? Hey, is anyone, from San Francisco? Is anyone? And they will tell you
Yeah.
like people hosting local events. But if I were to go get coffee with someone out of the group, they would reimburse me for up to $20 a day. Yeah, up to $20 per day of things I do with anyone out of the group or anything. And so they do like the female basketball at the Warriors, I forget their name, stadium. The tickets are
The
40.
Valkyries.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're $40 and they'll reimburse us $20 of that ticket to go with the group, and they block off, they reserve a whole section for us. And so things like that. I haven't really done any of
Hmm.
the events yet just because I've been busy, but like knowing that those are there and I'm like trying to look to plan and trying to find things. So that's been huge. I think
Yeah.
in terms of counseling, I'm in therapy now. I think it's growth therapy is what it's called. And that's just been huge because
Okay.
I can just vent and be acknowledged for what I'm going through. Um,
Hmm.
and just not feel crazy, right? And just know that every week
Yeah.
I look forward to it now. Like I'm like, cool, every Tuesday I'm gonna do this and we're gonna talk and we're gonna and then
Yeah.
um I think just the peer connections, like they connected me to like someone that has very similar diagnosis to me, and similar with kids and husbands and all, it's a similar story essentially.
Yeah.
And just having that person to like, hey, did you feel this? But just in general, they have an app, and so that group chat in the app where you're just like, there's always someone awake because we're,
Yeah.
of all. So I just think all of that, and
Yeah.
there's multiple groups like that. Base just happens to be a local one that everything is here, so I do involve myself more in that. But then they offer classes online where you can do yoga or you can do like journaling or creative art or just different groups offer that, and like those are really nice too, right? Because if you're just at home and you're like, oh, I have time, I can find a class, let me see, and you like there's one that you want, you can join.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we know that this is important, but how important has community, whether online or in person, been for your mental health? So you have spoken about your online community. You've spoken about your in-person community as well. How huge is their impact for you?
I think it's everything. I mean, short answer is it's everything, right? I couldn't have done it with the community, from your calls and texts to being able to vent to you, right? To my parents picking up my kids, even financially. Like there was just things where my parents were like, don't worry about it, like groceries or whatever,
Yeah.
we'll cover that on this end or what have you. I think, my aunt getting me to the right doctor. I think um, even my aunt showed up because of my MRI. I was like, I don't want to go in there. I'm not going to do this. And it was like a
Yeah.
evening one. And I'm like, scared. And she showed up afterwards and was like, I got you the latest Trader Joe's toe. And there was like sunflowers in it and just like all these like, snacks that I like. So just things like that. Um,
Mhm.
I think I always tell people like it felt like I had really bad COVID for a long time versus cancer because I had so much support, and I don't mean this in a braggy way because I've read horrible, horrible stories where people didn't have a support system or didn't have a village.
Right.
But I really think that if you ever come across and you have the opportunity to be someone's village in any situation, but in cancer specifically, do it because it's so much. If you're there visiting, don't say like, "Do you want me to wash your dishes?" Wash the dishes because we don't
Yeah.
want you to wash them, but we're also exhausted, or we can't
Yeah.
walk, or we're out of breath. Like sometimes standing was like dizzy, right? I like would get dizzy.
Yeah.
And so, don't tell me like, oh, I see you're sitting up. Do you want to go get a coffee? Like, just go get a, tell me, let's go get a coffee, Well, not me. I'm done, thankfully, and hopefully not back, knock on wood. But when you have that opportunity to like do that, just be there, bring them their favorite snacks. For me, they
Yeah.
eat whatever you can, and a lot of things didn't have flavor. So like I like spicy things at that time, which is crazy because I don't like spice. And so everyone was like, "Oh, we got you those Takis from Trader Joe's, or we got you the." Um,
Yeah.
so just that community was like it was huge. I never felt like I went
Yeah.
alone or without or some type of
Yeah.
support.
Yeah. That makes sense. And then I know that we touched on a little bit of loneliness post treatment. And it's not so much that your community has entirely receded, like you still have your core people there. Um, but I imagine that your online community kind of doesn't fill in because nobody really fills in that void, right? But
Right.
they do a great deal of bringing you up where it doesn't feel like you're 1,000% like on your own in it, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think the good thing too about the online community is as we get closer, we have each other's phone numbers or emails, and so you're now able to text and call, and it's starting to become more of an in-person community, which is
Yeah,
yeah, for sure.
that's awesome. Like a cute little transition.
Yeah.
Um, what advice would you give loved ones on how to show support in meaningful ways? You did touch on it a little bit, like wash them dishes, just do it.
Show up consistent. Don't wait for them to ask. What did my notes say? Yeah, we're like that's the big one because I said tired and I knew I wasn't gonna say this. Not only are we tired, if you're anything like me, you are too proud to ask for help. Like just you're too proud. Now I'm like, I should have called my brothers and my mom and my dad and been like, I need my Halloween decorations up now and my husband needs help and I should have stood there and bossed them around, right? But
Yeah,
the pride king and again, you're not just prideful because you want to be prideful over your people. You don't want to admit you can't do things. You're
yeah,
prideful towards
that makes
yourself.
sense.
I think one of the things like I can be grateful for with my cousins. I have a tight knit group. I have a lot of cousins, but specifically the cousins I'm closest to. And no offense to anyone, that's we're adults and we don't have time to do all the
Yeah,
things. The ones that live near
yeah,
me, they would just text me, "Hey, we're gonna pick up the kids." Half the time it was like we need to borrow your car because we don't all fit in one car because there's four of them. So if they all,
yeah,
but like, hey, we're gonna pick up the kids. We're gonna take them to Great America. Do you have their passes or do you have their, like just that was
yeah,
that's something I would advise people to do. Like if they trust you with their children and you've been at that role, obviously don't pop in as someone that doesn't know the kids. But if you're an aunt, uncle,
yeah.
grandparent, like just text the person more than
Try
likely
to sustain that normalcy.
or can't do anything.
Yeah,
So just kind of like, hey,
yeah,
it's free because I want to take them to Great America or whatever. It doesn't have to be anything major,
yeah,
just showing up consistently.
yeah,
And then listen without trying to fix. Don't when I'm like complaining, don't sit there and be like, you're not going to die. You can tell me after, but let me finish explaining why.
yeah,
Let me finish telling you what's on my mind. Um,
yeah.
and then just like show I think the biggest thing for me with my community is they showed their love so many ways. Not just by telling me they love me, but by showing up, by being consistent, by being patient,
Yeah.
by understanding when I said no, like just so many ways of showing me their love. That's the bit. Show the person that they are loved and not alone. I don't think anyone wants to feel alone, but especially through
I love
journey.
that. For sure. Um, this is our last portion of these questions, and it's looking forward. How do you maintain hope or motivation during difficult times? You kind of touched on it in the I look forward to things. So
Yeah.
how does it look like?
I focus, I think, on the positive. I focus a lot on gratitude where I wasn't always grateful. Um, I find like, sorry, female brain. I find
No, you're good.
like the peace in the smaller things, right? I find
Yeah.
being more grateful for the smaller things, appreciating the smaller things. There's the word, right? I find
Mhm.
appreciation in the smaller things. For example, my husband has no work tomorrow, but my kids go to school. Love them kids, but also love my time with my husband, right?
Yeah.
Um, so that is just so huge to me that like we're able to like have a day and it's a bunch of errands we're gonna run. Like my car, I got in a car accident. And I was not taking my car to get fixed because I wanted the guy to admit fault. And
Yeah.
I got a letter that was like, "You're my insurance basically said they don't think I'm at fault, and so they're gonna fight it." So now I'm like, I'll go get my car. So we're gonna drop it off.
Yeah.
I have my physical therapy, right? But it's just that to
Having
me,
him.
it's like those moments we get to have, right? Um, every time we do have time off, like for whatever reason, it just works. His days off, I have appointments, so I always do. And I always tell him like,
Yeah.
this is practice for when we're in our 80s in our 90s and we're all right, but then that helps me look forward to the future. And so
Absolutely.
that's the big thing. My faith just in general, and again, I not in just like religious, but just my faith in like, and this is my thing, right? Everyone's like, oh, you're a Christian or you're a Catholic or you're Jewish, right? To me, I don't care what you are. I believe that there's a higher power of some sort, whether it's energy, whether it's God, whether it's a lot, whether whoever it is. And to me, it's believing that like this higher power is going to protect me and take care of me as long as I protect and respect those around me, including nature, right? I'm a big person, not just because that was my nickname, but I love Pocahontas. You know, she talks about
Yeah.
Mother Earth and that Colors of the Wind is such a song that I try to live by now, more now than ever, right? And just appreciate
Yeah.
the small stuff. I think and like I said, I mean that just appreciating all the little things, the cup of coffee that we had, and my kids didn't bother me this morning, right? Enjoying that.
Hmm.
They,
Yes.
yeah, like just having my Halloween decor, like so much happiness, right? We lost our guinea pig last May. So it's been a little over a year. Last year I couldn't really do much for the other los muertos for my kids, and so being able to do that, and I'm like so grateful. It's crazy because we're like celebrating a death, but being able to bring that to my children, right? Not
Yeah.
just because I didn't do it last year, but able to like bring that culture to them.
Hmm.
Um, and
Love
that's
that.
another thing, appreciating my culture now. Like I, not that I didn't, but now I'm
Yeah.
like, no, we're going to Mexico. And I even told my husband, like, I'm trying to get a job in the school because these guys are going to spend at least 2 weeks to 4 weeks in Mexico over the summer, to really
Yeah.
get to know the culture. And, my husband has family there. And so I'm like,
Yeah.
happy.
Let's soak it in. Yeah.
So like I've been working on passports. I've been working on because I just appreciating life. I was like, I'm not going anywhere because one, I'm poor. Two, I don't like to fly. Like, do not put the one time I had to fly to Las Vegas by myself for like 20 minutes, right? The flight's super short.
Yeah.
Everyone, I texted my sister, my cousin, who I was meeting in Vegas, and I texted Robert and my mom. Like, I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm dying because it's nighttime and my airplane is shaking. And then I was like, just kidding. I just landed. And I looked and it was like 10 minutes apart.
Yeah.
So I don't, I went to Kansas right before my diagnosis and I was like, cranberry and vodka, please, as I got on the plane. I even sat in the back because my grandma was in the front and I did not want her to see me drink because I was like, this girl cannot be on the plane. And we're like two in already before the plane takes off. So now I'm learning to appreciate the small things and like I want to do more, right?
More. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Bigger picture, it's big, but it's the small things of getting there, right? So yeah,
Absolutely.
for me, the motivation is my faith in knowing that you do good and the universe will return that good, and hoping that that's the faith, and also just that I'm trying my best to do what I need to do to avoid reoccurrence to hopefully live a long life, right? A healthy life. Um,
Okay.
and then my kids, they're totally my motivation. Like And I tell everyone that all the time. If I didn't have kids when I was diagnosed, obviously we want to fight for our lives, but like, at what point would I have been like, look, I'm tired, like I'm done, you know?
Yeah.
But with kids, you're like, there's no
I
choice. I
can't.
want to
Yeah.
treat them the way I treat them. Don't get me wrong, my husband's great, but he don't do the things I do the same way I don't do the things he does, right? We both play a role.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
so I think that's huge. And I talked to like one of the teachers at their school, actually both of their English teacher. They just happen to get the same English teacher. So it was hers last year and his this year. So like I've known her though because she was also my brother's preschool teacher.
I got it. Okay.
Because they're at the same school. So we've known her.
Uh-huh.
She was a breast cancer. She is a breast cancer survivor. And one of the things she told me is that her kids were little and so they didn't understand. And they also had the questions about like, why are you sending us off? Or why are you not as involved? Or why?
Right.
And she said now that they're older and understand, she was like, they think I'm like this superhero. Like they think the world of me, like the things I hear them tell people when they don't think I'm listening and like all these things. And I was like, that's motivation, right? Not that I have to
Yeah.
be like this, like my kids have to put me on
Yeah.
pedestal, but one day my kids will wake up and be old enough to recognize I didn't just abandon them or I didn't just tap out of doing things, right?
Yeah.
And
Right.
the motivation to see them grow and just everything about that. The motivation to see where my marriage goes. I was, we're very fortunate to have a lot of support in taking our kids and we have a lot of one-on-one time. But I think once our kids are older and they need us less, because even now I'm like, oh, they took off, but I'm anxious or whatever. Like, we'll have our time together,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all of that, I finally after cancer decided I know what I wanted to be, and it's kind of in what I thought I wanted to be, but it's a little bit different.
Hmm.
The past I wanted to be like just a therapist. I wanted to continue in the jobs I do. Now I'm like I want to be a school counselor, and that's that. Like that. There's So I'm trying to go back to
Yeah.
so just doing things and setting up goals to plan for the future is motivation.
I love that. Um, we know that it has shifted, but has your experience shifted your oh my God, perspective on life, self-care, and mental health?
So totally like it's changed. For self care alone, I would do it in my younger days and keep up. And it was back then though it was a fun thing. You go with your girls, you do, When I had
Yeah.
kids, I would do it when I it was like, oh, I do
Good.
this.
Yeah.
I treated it very optional, and now it is very, very, very much a part of my day. It's a must.
Vital.
It's survival, right? And it's not just
Yeah.
getting my hair and my nails. And I actually haven't because my nails were purple and falling, and they're ugly still, both of them.
Yeah.
I'm letting them grow, and my hair, so I'm not
Hmm.
doing that. But for me, the self care is setting those healthy boundaries, saying no when I need to say no. It's letting my kids know like mom's going to do her yoga, her meditation, her Reiki, whatever. Like it's doing all the things. It's setting those routines so that I'm not anxious and worried about what's coming next. It's keeping my calendar organized because that's self care to me because I'm not stressed. It's also
Yeah.
like it comes back to those boundaries. I'm with my calendar. If it ain't on the calendar, I'm not doing it because I did not have it planned. I mean, obviously, if you like tell me today about something
Yeah.
tomorrow, I had it. But like,
You'll
if you're
have some flex room. Yeah.
hey, come over right now, I'm be like, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I already took my bra off. I'm done for the day.
Yeah.
So that's big. Listening to my body, like, go. People are like, why do you know? If I feel like I want to go to the emergency, I do it because right now, if I'm still doing this in a year, please stop me. But for now,
Yeah.
like just
It makes sense.
for myself in general, everything that I need,
Yeah.
going for it within reason. If it's completely out of whack, no. Um,
Yeah.
Not ignoring my emotions is another thing. Um, Asking for help is not weakness, that's strength, right? And that takes a lot, especially now that I have an arm that's
Yeah.
restricted. Um, and I value my time differently, right? I've been trying to get up earlier and earlier so I can have slower mornings and not be in a rush. But also like allowing that alone time when everyone's asleep and my house is quiet and I can just sit and like drink my coffee with my show on, right? It's very repetitive. It's Gossip Girl or Pretty Little Liars. Once I finish one, I go back to the other. No, I mixed it in. Like right now, only Murders in the building is
Oh,
out.
I love that
City of
show.
Georgia is
Yes.
coming. There's just so much that I mix in.
Yeah.
Another one that I keep, or Kim's Convenience. Love Kim's Convenience.
Love it. Yes.
Schitt's Creek. I could watch that all day. I still
Yeah.
don't know what fold the cheese means, but we're getting there. Just fold it in.
Just
Um,
fold it in.
yeah, so then more family moments. Like just like I told my husband I'm very needy, but like I don't care if you want to bring your friends, but let's do this. Let's go
Yeah.
out exploring more and doing new things with my family, right? Is huge for me. And then honestly trying to not worry. Like we talked about it, like with my kids, I was such a helicopter parent and I realized it restricted them. Some kids are doing the monkey bars and my kids couldn't do it because I was like, no, you don't need that's dirty. Don't touch that. I haven't wiped it.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, I don't know where my kid is when I'm in safe areas, right? Like family.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think
They're somewhere.
and it's always like the same few
They're
people.
safe. Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
the holiday, like my mom's like, "Where's the kids?" I'm like, either Pauline, Keisha, Vanessa, or Mark, right? My aunt's kids or my brothers. And sure enough, like they're over here, you know,
Yeah.
at the baseball field. One time I was like, "He's at the playground," and it's fine. I'm watching my daughter's softball game. He's with a bunch of other kids that know. I'm sure one of the kids would have ran and told me if he got kidnapped. Like
Right. Yeah.
it's happening. And so, and again, knock on wood, but my mom comes back hustling, right? And she's like, my mom's older, she's almost 60, so she should not be running, but she's running. And I was like, what happened? She's like, and I say that because she just had no knee surgery prior to this, right? So like,
Yes.
not have been hustling like that. And she was like, he's not at the playground, and he was like in line with one of the board members that offered ices to everybody, and that's the community, right? Like,
Yes.
you're just gonna
Yeah.
ask me if my kid could have an icy?
Yeah.
It's got red 40 in it, and the neurodivergence in him does not come, like it just,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I let my kid run wild and I let him have his icy and,
Yeah.
just trying to let go of that and just in general, getting on an airplane now, trying to be like
More lax.
more relaxed about things.
Yeah.
And then my faith, right? Having stronger faith in the higher power and
Yeah.
the positive energy stuff. So,
I like that. This is our last question, and it's a really important question, I feel, especially with your perspective and professional stance on this really, really sensitive topic, I feel. What would you like others currently going through this journey to hear or know?
okay, this one I did take.
That's okay.
So first of all, like you're not alone, right? Even though someone's diagnosis is different or someone's story is different, you're not alone. One of the things I found about the community is that people may not want to talk about it, but if you mention you have it, they're very, very open and welcoming about that. And so there's that. The second thing is like there's no right way to handle it. There's
Yeah.
I honestly don't care what you do during your journey, right? Some people are like, oh, you can't have sugar. Some people are saying eat whatever you want. Some people say I smoke weed. Some people say don't smoke weed. Some people say do this, don't do that. Do whatever you want to do, right?
Yeah.
You're fighting for your life, literally. Okay, like you're literally. And I know we all are dying and every day, right?
Yeah.
But like as a competitive person, like I said earlier, like I was dying faster, so it's about me right now, right? So do it your way, the best you can. Some days you're going to feel strong, other days you're going to be broken. Some days you're somewhere in between, and both are okay, right? Like
Yeah.
your journey, and don't let anyone, not even your doctors, dictate that. Now, obviously, if they're saying do chemo and then like follow that, but
Yeah. But as
it,
far as your feelings, yeah.
yeah, as far as like what to eat, what to like, take care of yourself, right? Don't rush your healing. You're not just done because you've finished with everything. I think take as long as you want. I've really set boundaries on like I'm not going back to work full time, and not because I can't. I don't want to. I don't want to explain to people why my hair is this length or why I'm like I will go when I'm comfortable. Right now is like when I get my surgery and I look normal. Do I ever look normal? But but
Yeah.
who knows? I mean, 2 months from now, I might feel confident and like want to go back to work. I don't know, but I think just remembering that like you went through something just extremely traumatic, not just mentally and emotionally, but physically, whether you had surgery, chemo, radiation, or not, even at stage 0, like it's
Yeah.
a lot. And so yeah, just be gentle with yourself. Don't rush anything. Surrounding yourself with people that are going to lift you up and are going to understand you, right? Don't let any negative Nancy be in your
Yeah.
circle. Um, don't let anyone drain you, right? And then just remembering that, like, for me, it was like cancer changed my body and it was like such a toll. So even if cancer changes your body, it doesn't take away your spirit. So just run with who you are, run with that spirit. Even if you're having a bad day, just remember who
Who you
you
are
are.
at the core.
And I say, like, you're not the same person, you're not, because there's all these other things, but your morals, your values, none of that changes, and you're still that person, right? Um, and I think at the end of the day, the biggest one is that, like, you are still full and you are still worthy of everything and anything, and you're still here, right? Like, as a survivor, you're still here and you're here for a reason. And don't push yourself to find that reason, but know that there is a reason and be proud of that.
I love that.
I think that's the biggest thing. And then be blunt, set those boundaries, take care of yourself. This is
Yeah.
time to be selfish.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Absolutely.
take advantage. We
Yeah.
just really, really reach out and use those people that are there for
I love that. I want to end this with saying thank you, not only for letting me ask you these questions once, but twice. And I do want to just say this again because I meant it earlier when I said it. The reason that I wanted to ask you all of these questions is not only that your story is so important to me personally, but it needs to be heard. Um, there's not enough, it's not even a positive story, but real stories out there. Like, you're not going to sugarcoat it. You know that like strength was the only option that you had. Um, you allowed yourself to be real through all of it. And we touched on this, but you had your bad days and you didn't stay in them. You felt them and you took everything a day at a time. And it was just, I'm honored to have been able to witness your journey, to be able to have seen you overcome this. I know that there's still a long journey ahead of you. But at the end of the day, regardless if it was the only thing that you had, your strength, um, and even now, just to continue to find that motivation, it's more than admirable. It's amazing.
you.
I
Thank you for
appreciate you and
having
I love you.
this interview. I love you too, and this has been fun. And I definitely appreciate you giving me a platform to share because, like I said, not a lot of stories were out there. And I don't like you said, I don't know if it's like a positive story, but I do feel it's positive where I beat it and I'm here and I'm not perfect, but I'm trying. And I
Yeah,
think that's all I'm asking of myself, right? Like
yeah,
that's that's all I can, right? So
yeah.
yeah, totally.
I love that.